In 2009, Josh and Hadley were friends at high school, co-hosts of a radio show, and massive fans of Prison Break. Now in 2017, Josh lives in Australia, Hadley's in New Zealand, and Prison Break is back on TV, so they have an excuse to talk again. Warning: contains Prison Break spoilers.
Hey guys, future Josh here, cleaning up past Josh and Hadley's problems. Just a heads up, this week, as well as Prison Break spoilers, there are also spoilers for Beauty and the Beast, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift, and Too Fast and Furious, and Fast and Furious 6, and Back to the Future. Enjoy the show, guys. Hey, man.
Hey, there we go. So how was that for you?
Yeah.
Straight off the bat, I want to apologise for my tone last night. I think I was particularly negative and I didn't, I don't know, I feel like I could have been a little more forgiving. Because I feel like, just like our podcast yesterday had a little too much exposition in places, so did the episodes. So you know what? Like, I would ask people to persevere with us, so I can only do the same for Prison Break.
Yeah, well, people worked hard on it.
Oh, come on, man. They could have worked harder, though, eh? I mean, no.
And we're back.
Oh, no. Okay, also, the other thing that I want to apologise for, in Prison Break, they keep saying it's been 7 years, but in real life time, it's been 8 years. So I don't know whether that means that Prison Break, like the timeline, like, have they purposely set this last year, or I don't know what their deal is.
I think there was delays in this coming out. I remember there being a story about Dominic Purcell falling off some scaffolding or something like that and having to go to hospital for a few months.
Okay, that'll do it.
Yeah, so I think there could have been delays in production or something like that, and maybe they just couldn't be bothered changing it to 8 years.
Too much work. It
was already in the script.
I watched Beauty and the Beast tonight, directly before watching Prison Break, and there was a bit where it's almost like they don't let...
You watched Prison Break, right?
I thought we were doing Beauty and the Beast tonight. I thought it was Prison Break last night, and then we'll do Beauty and the Beast tonight, and then I don't know, we'll see as we go.
Okay, go on.
And there's a bit in Beauty and the Beast where I feel like when they all, spoiler alert, they all come back to life as like all the plates and like furniture come back to life as like actual people. They never show the kid's mouth move when he talks. And I feel like it's same as Ewan McGregor, and I feel like it's because both of them were dubbed and they couldn't be bothered like doing proper ADR.
Yeah. I still don't know how I feel about it. Yeah, it's a tough one. I guess 3 watches of that one was a tough one.
You did not do 3 watches of Prison Break. Settle yourself. That is outrageous.
Oh gosh. Okay, so
I enjoyed it more.
Episode 2, I guess. And you enjoyed it more.
I did enjoy it more. Here it is, right off the top, my biggest question. Old Moneybag Lincoln. I swear last episode he was bitching and moaning
I knew you were going to say this. I knew you were going to bring it up when he whipped that wad out.
He just whips his wad out left, right and centre. First of all, the lady who is helping them escape Yemen, her dad just said to her, oh, it's going to cost 2 years' salary. And then she's like, oh, okay, we'll never come out that money. 3 seconds later, Lincoln walks in. Isn't this enough? And he whops out his massive wad and slaps her in the face with it. And then later on, they're trying to get into the ISIL controlled territory, and they're like, "Oh, they'll never let us in." And he goes, "How about this?" And he whips out another wad and he just gives it to that guy.
Good. I'm glad you were happy with that part.
No, this is the opposite. I'm angry with that part.
Is that your peak or is that your pit?
No, that's my big question. Like of all the what's going on questions, that's my biggest question of the episode is where does Lincoln get all this money from?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a theory going around about this money. I think this is not the last we've seen of Lincoln's money in this season. Here
is my theory. So at the end of season 3, they're in Panama and they've got all of DB Cooper's money. And then Agent Kim kicks it off into what I always thought was relatively shallow water. But then they were like, "Oh no, that money's dead and gone forever now." Just like the song that you played when we had our old radio show that almost got us banned because it had way too many N-words in it. That money's dead and gone.
All right,
but,
so...
But
okay, keep going.
We don't need to address community radio stories. You played it. I had nothing to do with it. I gave you one job, which was to pick the song, and you chose to have one there on a community radio station where we had one rule. Hey guys, don't say the N-word. Anyway.
All right, guys. So welcome to this week's episode of the Josh and Hadley Show. This is a weekly show where Josh and Hadley watch Prison Break Season 5, and then discussion follows. Is that succinct?
That's succinct, and you know what? It was a great subject changer. I can't even remember what I was talking about.
Perfect. Look, that sucked.
Okay, I'm back. We'll get back to how much it sucked, and I reckon. But come on, if last week's episode was like a 2 inmates out of a Fox River 8, this one was easily like a 3.5 or 4. Like, it's getting better. But I've got a theory for you. It's a good theory as well. I'm proud of this theory.
Okay, all right, let's do this.
Okay, so that money, the was it $5 million that DB Cooper, less everything that everyone spent along the way, that money disappeared. It just fell in the water. It was in a bag. Then Lincoln was in Panama for several years, as they reminded us last episode, running a scuba diving shop. I reckon Lincoln used the power of his snorkel to go into this very, very shallow water and regain DB Cooper's money. He dried it off in a laundromat.
Look, the theory's got legs, but then what's he doing with these loan sharks then?
I think he just loves the thrill. It's just the thrill of the. He likes the thrill of the hunt, but he's the hunted one, and that's he just loves it. He's just Lincoln Burrows is an A-class tease.
So you think Lincoln Burrows is potentially a millionaire, but he loves petty crime so much that he commits petty crimes and takes out loans from criminal loan sharks just for the thrill of the chase.
Knowing that he'll never pay them back, hoping against hope that they turn up at his house with guns and go, Lincoln Burrows is a grown man who runs around going, "I hope nobody tickles me." And he wants them to tickle him.
Actually had some cool scenes. He had some cool scenes, like well, I don't know if they were cool, but like when he was fighting ISIL, it was basically Lincoln Burrows versus ISIL tonight, and I don't know if he understands what ISIL is or what terrorists are, because he sort of goes in there like a child, kind of ignorant to it, being like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll get the kids out. It's all right." And it's like these guys have got guns. They're an international terrorist cell, and then we've got Lincoln Burrows.
Lincoln Burrows used some big words tonight, and it took me aback. I'm like, "Wow, Lincoln, I didn't know that you knew those 3-syllable words. Well done, you."
There was one particular shot in the episode towards the back half, just before they go in to save the Sheik, and they come out of the back of a ute. They're looking at the side of the building. They see the terrorist guys sitting out in front of the building, and they're sort of discussing what to do. Then there's a close-up shot of Link's face, and he says, "There's only one way to find out."
Oh my God, yes!
Yes. And so he has this line, and I burst out laughing, and I was hoping that he'd be digging a grave in the next episode.
The very next shot, there's only one way to find out, and it's just him digging his own grave.
But wasn't it an awkward shot?
Do you think he? I mean, yeah, it was a weird shot, but they have to make a big thing of it because that's his catchphrase. They're really trying to get. They're really trying to push the Prison Break merch this season, and so what they thought of, like, they don't have great catchphrases. I mean, Michael Scofield's got "and now we run" from the end of Prison Break season 1. We love that. Brad Bellick, obviously, you get the Brad Bellick plushie, you squeeze him, and he goes, "I'm gonna hunt you down, Schofield." But up until this point, Lincoln Burrows didn't have any catchphrases. So what they're doing is every single episode of the season, he is going to say, "There's only one way to find out." And that way, when you get the mug, you lift up the mug, and it's got a light sensor on the bottom. So when you take a drink of hot chocolate, you hear his catchphrase plays. Same as like Woody from Toy Story. You pull the ripcord of the back, his classic catchphrase. And I guarantee you there'll be more catchphrases. Also, with the Lincoln Burrows doll, you get big wads of cash, but it never explains where the doll gets it from.
He just keeps
every time you think... Yeah, whenever it's like a Pez dispenser, but it's just cash shooting out of Lincoln's big, thick neck.
So, yeah, he's an interesting fella. He's definitely boring, but he keeps the show interesting as well at the same time. I know it's a contradictory thing to say, but he's simultaneously one of the dumbest characters I've seen in a television show, as well as one of the most interesting. Like, when they were trying to solve the mystery of the Sheik, and suddenly he had the answer, like when they were... What was it? They looked at the phone number in Michael's note that he left them, and they're all sort of puzzled around it. Link knew straight away; he knew the answer. But while that whole scene was going on, he was sitting in the corner, kind of just like looking at the wall, not really participating in the riddle or the clue or anything, which I thought was perfect as well, because he knew there was just no point.
He let everyone else do the groundwork. He pretty much got them all the way to saying that the Sheik of Light was the director of the power company. The others who were literally about to say, "Oh, Sheik of Light, that's the director of the power company," and that's when he chimes in, "Oh, the director of the power company! Sheik of Light, it's the director of the power company!" Just so he could be the first to say it.
But I like to think that was an acting decision on his part to stare at the wall. In the scene, he was scripted to be more active, obviously, and participating in the puzzle. But he decided that it would be more fitting for his character if he sat off to the side by himself and didn't really participate, just because he knew he couldn't really contribute a lot to it.
Yeah, no, I actually read the shoot script for this episode, and he actually had several big monologues throughout that, and he just decided just not to do them.
Yeah, I think ultimately it worked out better.
I mean, I don't know Dominic Purcell personally. I like to think he has the acting chops to deliver the monologues, but I just wouldn't have believed if Lincoln had said anything.
Exactly. So I guess the other thing that was interesting was the BPA in the water bottle. Do you remember this?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Kellerman's back, who was the best bad guy from the start. What is his deal? Focusing on you're going to get sick if you drink out of a plastic bottle. There was no resolution there, and I thought
obsession. There was an obsession, right? I thought he was poisoning her or something, but no. He just really hates plastic bottles.
Yeah. Is this something that is going to be, I don't know, like explored later on? Are they trying to give his character a quirk, or is Prison Break marketing while they're trying to release their own line of merchandise? They are directly attacking the bottled water industry as well. The marketing genius, the marketing geniuses have looked at a Venn diagram, and they realise that if people with disposable income between the ages of 18 and 34, with households that earn over $100,000, that's their target market. have they spend the same amount of money on Prison Break merch as they do on bottled water. And if they can get people buying less bottled water, they'll spend more money on Prison Break merch. So now they're just besmirching the name of bottled water in the hopes that those people go, oh man, I won't buy that, but I'll buy a disposable, eco-friendly Paul Kellerman cup.
So, like, conspiracy theory aside, what the hell was that? Honestly, what the hell?
Did you know, the Marvel Universe, like, Spider-Man's parents who died also happened to work for for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Spoiler
and then
alert.
Spoiler alert. And then they're also friends with Wolverine, who used to hang out with them, who used to fight with Captain America back in the day. The Marvel Universe is just too small because everybody knows everybody, and that's where Prison Break is getting to. Why is Paul Kellerman back, who just happens to have been in the office when Sarah turned up at a different government department that he was ever in, and now? Why? It's just the universe is too small. Why is he there, and why does he hate bottled water so much?
I mean, I appreciated them bringing him back for it, because I feel like out of all the people they brought back, that guy actually probably would have been slightly harder to get than some of the other actors, because he's done stuff since Prison Break, right?
I don't know.
He was in Private Practice for like 9 seasons.
Yeah.
So. I don't know. I just think that he would have been a challenging one to get back, and his story really finished. Like he helped them in the end. He got them exonerated, and he sent T-Bag and Jonathan to prison at the end of season 4. So like he was a good dude by the end of it. And suddenly he was the head of the company, and then in this season suddenly Kellerman seems like he's a D-bag again, and he's Michael killed a guy, and that's that. There's no other explanation around it. He definitely killed a guy, despite the entire premise of this entire show being about Lincoln being set up for killing a guy.
No, Sarah pointed that out and said, "Oh, that's my laptop. I'll hush you down." Sarah even said. Wait a minute, isn't that the premise of this whole show? And then Paul Kellerman said, oh no, there were blood evidence in the clothes that Michael took with him to Yemen when he flew out. Why did Michael pack a suitcase full of clothes covered in blood of another person?
Yeah, it's foolproof. Look, the case is airtight. There's nothing in there. There's no wiggle room. I don't know, mate. I just, like, the water bottle thing that got me. I don't know what was going on there. I don't know what they were trying to allude to. I'm intrigued. I hope that zig does zag, and we don't see where that's going, but, I doubt it.
How much did you love seeing Michael back in prison?
Okay, I did. I liked seeing Michael back in prison, but I didn't like it as much as I liked seeing Johnny Tran in prison with Michael.
Now, he was the addict, yeah?
Come on.
Where do I know him from?
Yeah, Johnny Tran from Fast and Furious.
There it is. Hello. Tokyo Drift.
No. All right.
Did I just make an assumption?
He was the bad guy in the first Fast and Furious movie. He's also Korean.
Oh, yeah.
Good job, though. I appreciate the casual racism there.
No, okay. Tokyo Drift has people. It's a very multicultural film. What have you know? It has Americans. It has an Australian girl, Han, whose last name is Seoul-O, as is revealed in Fast and Furious 5, is Korean. And I just figured maybe this guy was part of Han's crew. But yes, no, he was the guy with the Uzi who shot up the nerdy guy who uses a computer to work on cars.
That's it.
Fast and Furious 1 came out a long time ago. Look, mate, I think Prison Break and Fast and Furious are very linked. First of all, they've got the same executive producer on board. We've got, is it Neil Moritz? So that's a thing. Secondly, we've got, as we all know, what's his face from Fast and Furious 1, who's in this episode. And secondly, we have last episode we had laptop hacking other cars, just like in Fast and Furious 6. I think a Fast and the Furious Prison Break crossover.
What about Sucre?
Oh, Sucre, of course. Too Fast, Too Furious, and Prison Break.
Exactly. He's the missing link.
Yeah, he's the missing link in Burrows. I think that there will be a Fast and Furious Prison Break crossover. I guarantee it.
I tell you what, we're dealing with very significant lag here. I'm getting you about 7 seconds, I just counted, behind when you talk. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to hang up. I'm going to call you back. Feel free to keep recording because I don't plan on editing this. So you can keep talking if you want to talk while I hang up and call you back. But I'm going to do that.
Okay. I'm waiting.
Phone's just ringing now. We'll see if he picks up. And look at that, he's picked up. Have we got lag?
I sat in silence.
I think it's more manageable, I think. Okay, cool. So what was it again? Pits and peaks, right? What was your pit? We'll start with pit.
Okay, my pit of this episode. What? It was again. It's the kid. He's got to go. He had a little bit at the end where he had to say, "Where did the man go? The pizza man." And I just, he angered me. Him not wanting to go to school angered me, and also the fact that just he's in it, and we just have to use him now. I feel like it's like Back to the Future 2, where at the end of Back to the Future 1, they put in Jennifer into the car, and then because they never thought they were making a sequel, and then when it came around to making a sequel time, they instantly regretted having her in the car. It's like, we have to do something with her now. So they just knocked her out and chucked her in an alley for the fun part of the movie. I think the kid is the exact same thing. If they knew they were making a Prison Break Season 5, they wouldn't have knocked Sarah up. He's just a burden. Yeah, no, that's fair. My pit was Jacob. Yeah.
Mate, he's just got to go. He had about a 2-minute monologue when he was in the hospital there. That was so boring. And honestly, mate, no one cares, Jacob. No one cares, Jacob. Just die. The dude, he can't even take a hint. He thought it was about him. Mate, it's not about you. Just die.
You were so excited to have him in the episode last night.
What was it? I know, I was excited initially, and then I realized that he just thinks it's all about him. Look, this isn't the Jacob show. This is Prison Break. Where was he 7 years ago?
7 years ago, he was in the United States. He's an economist, but he wasn't always an economist. He actually used to do petty crime for the fun of it, but eventually he paid his debtors off, and then they said, "Okay, you've paid your debt, and you can go about your life now." And that way, he's like, "Oh wow! Now that I don't have to run and I'm not being chased this whole time, I can actually make a positive contribution to society." He learnt his lesson, which not everybody does.
Yeah, Jacob's got to go. All right. What did you like the most?
I really liked seeing Michael just do some prison tricks again, making his prison lighter out of a gum and some was it a gum and a battery. I really liked seeing that, and also I liked to.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Or was it the gum, or was it the foil from the gum?
Look, I think whatever it was ridiculous.
I also really liked seeing him when everyone else was really scared about the big bad guys coming out of solitary confinement. I liked that he gave the guy a hug, and he's definitely just ISIS, like straight up. Michael Schofield is a general. Like just there's no two ways about it. He is just straight up stone cold killer. He murdered that CIA agent because he's just ISIS.
So my peak we've already talked about was the shot of Lincoln saying there's only one way to find out. So I guess that
and
brings
I think
us
that's
into,
going to be your peak every episode.
Yeah, it will be. It probably will be most weeks now. It's a gimme. We have one other segment, which was what's what is Michael up to? You've had another week to lament on what Michael's up to. What's Michael up to this week?
No, and this has only confirmed my theory of what is going on. Just ISIS. What about you? What do you think his end game is? What's his deal?
Well, there was a line early on in the episode when he was climbing through the vent. I'm actually being serious. There was a line when he was in the vent early on, and he said when he was with his friend, "I wish it was you and me, like it was all the other times, or all the other ones." Which sort of implies that Michael's just this guy who gets put into prison and breaks out of them. And I don't know what he's up to, but I feel like in the last 7 years he's been breaking out of prisons all over the place. And I feel like maybe it's like an addiction for him where he needs to break out of prisons, break people out of prisons, break people into prisons. And it's just a thing he does now, and he sort of gets off on it.
You reckon breaking out of prison is his petty crime? He can't give it up.
Well, when he was doing his prison breaking things, like the battery and the gum and the rag and the sock and climbing through the vent and getting whipped.
He had a massive erection the whole time.
Well, he loved it though. Like he loved doing that. He was so happy. I haven't seen Wentworth Miller this happy for 7 years.
Yeah.
To be honest. And good on him.
Okay. So here is my predictions for upcoming weeks. One, I'm locking in Michael he's an ISIS boy. That's what he does. I reckon the kid is going to get kidnapped. That's just going to be a standard thing that happens. But that's probably going to be...
Yep, that's given.
But I guess it's going to be revealed that he was kidnapped by good guys. Just for a twist. Although Prison Break is just not doing twists this season. Like, the biggest twist was, oh man, me and the bad guy are actually friends all along. But I reckon the kid's going to get kidnapped, but not by who you think.
Not as twisty as normal Prison Break.
Yeah. Who else do you want to come back? We got Paul Kellerman this week. That was a nice treat. Who? Okay, obviously Brad Ballack is number one. But who else do we want to come back?
So I would like to see Lechero back.
Oh, the milkman.
The milkman.
Wasn't Lechero? Doesn't that mean milkman? That's his backstory. In Sona, he was he was like the milkman killer. Like he used to. I can't remember if he killed milkmen or if he like pretended to be a milkman to kill someone. But I'm pretty sure Lechero means the milkman, and that's how he got his nickname.
Yeah, I feel like he'd definitely have a lot to offer this season.
And you know what? I'm not going to be surprised if he comes back.
Who do you want to come back?
Well, I really want to see Warden Pope come back. As played by Stacey Keach.
Okay.
I don't want him around for long though, but I just want him to come back and he's dishevelled. He's always dishevelled now. And I want him to play an instrumental part. He lives in Yemen now, by the way. It's not really explained why. He now works as a baggage handler in Yemen airport for Emirates. A big thank you to Emirates for their for making Prison Break was brought to you by Emirates. And I really want him. They're just about to get through, and they get stopped. And then he says, "Hey guys, climb into this refrigerator box, and I'll ship you out of here." And then halfway through, Michael, because he can't help himself, breaks out of the refrigerator box. End of episode 4. That's what I'm predicting.
Well, let's save that for next week. I think I'm glad that this week's is over. I was really excited for this week's episode, and I'm pretty disappointed with it actually. I think you're right. It was better than episode 1, but not by much.
Okay, so how many Fox River 8s are you going to rate it?
Well, I'm going to give it how many of his Yemen crew are there? Because we got a new Fox River 8 basically tonight as well. That's the other thing to point out.
Yeah, I want to say Yemen 7. But
All right,
also,
we'll go with the Yemen 7.
but he said like he wants to release everybody. So is it like everybody, like the whole prison?
I think it's just all his homies, because he's got a few of them in that cell with him, plus the guy who runs ISIL.
Exactly. And the guy who owns Freddie Mercury's ashes.
I think I give it 2 Fox River inmates out of 8, and they're not 2 of the good Fox River inmates. It's Tweener.
That was my next question.
And
yep.
yeah, it's Tweener and it's Haywire.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go. Yeah, for me, it's a Westmoreland. It's a Haywire, but also it's an Abruzzi as well. So that's
okay.
That's 3,
that's all right.
but one of them's quite a good one.
Yeah, so that was Prison Break for this week. Thanks for all your support, everyone who's listened to the show and downloaded last week's episode. As we mentioned last week, we have a couple of ways that you can get in touch with us. So we have a Facebook group, courtesy of Hadley. What was the group called, Hadley?
It is Josh and Hadley Pod. Or maybe it's just Josh and Hadley Show. Who knows? Just type in Josh and Hadley on Facebook.
So you'll figure that out.
Look, the all our information, it's just on our LinkedIn page, so you can just check it out there. That's where you can get just if you want to download more, if you want to connect with us on a business level, that's where you need it. And that's all I've got to say about our social media. I don't care. I don't want to have to. I'm not whoring this.
No. So email us at joshandhadleypod@gmail.com. If you've got any sponsorship discussions that you want to have with us, email us at sponsorships@joshandhadley.pod@gmail.com. If you just...
we're talking to you, Emirates. We know you got the money.
Yeah, look, and we've also got our new T-shirts, the There's Only One Way to Find Out T-shirts. They're going to be going on sale on our eBay account starting from today as well. If you want to get those, just look for Josh and Hadley on eBay. Look, I think that's everything.
Yeah, mate, shut it down.
Big thanks to Emirates for sponsoring this week's episode. Look, mate, I'll talk to you next week.
And not a minute before. Roll credit music.
I'll never stop recording.
Don't miss out on anything. Subscribe right now to stay in the know.